Dickbag Patrol in color. You know, it's the little things in life. Whether it's Corey Feldman getting beaten up by his own microphone, or Chille de Castro's bail request getting denied. Treasure these special moments, folks. Speaking of special moments, let's talk Chille's hilariously pathetic phone calls from jail. Now, Ram and I have covered his calls up until now on our live streams. Unfortunately for Chille, it seems like the judge was watching too.
So he's going to apologize to me in a minute, but that's not what he's saying on what he's publishing online in his phone calls from the jail.
Shit, there's already a whole album's worth of material, but we haven't gone over the two newest ones yet, both from the 28th of March. The first one is annoying, partly because Chille is laying on the new age guru shtick pretty thick for the first few minutes. Then suddenly the video and audio quality totally go to shit, and it's literally unwatchable for the rest of it. Anyway, let's listen. By the way, I added the candle and the music for atmosphere. Seemed appropriate.
Today's March 28th. This is Chille de Castro from the dungeon in Clark County Detention Center, Nevada. You know, as you go down the road of life, there's always forks. You always have decisions you can make and things. You can decide which way you're going to go. You can make your turns. That's how people end up being successful or unsuccessful, how they end up divorced or married or kids or no kids. Every single decision that you make is based on the decision that you made at each fork in the road. And as you look back through life, you can go through your memories and look back and see some of those forks in the road, some of those decisions that you made. And you do have regret. You do regret some of those turns that you made and some of those forks in the road. And you may not sit and ponder on regret and say that that's the decision that I made and this is where I'm at now, so I don't have any regrets. Well, I'd rather be a little bit more honest. I have regrets for my regrets. Decisions I made along the way that if I had turned this way instead of that, I'd be in a different place in life. And then I get to the more philosophical position of I am where I am. The decisions I made, I can't go back on, and so I have no regrets. And that's how we rationalize in our own minds, each and every one of us.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, what the fuck was that happy horse shit? Regrets for his regrets? Holy balls. Now all of that, of course, was just a tactic of Chille's to try and soften you up. If you thought he was going to actually break down and atone for his ways, well then you just don't know Chille. Just wait for this 180.
What I will say is that there's certain characters in life. There's people who form character who are prime movers, and there's other people who are auxiliary, and other people who are bitter, and there's other people who are looters and moochers, and there's just so many different kinds of characters in the world.
Wait for it.
And to me, the only thing that I've always made sure that I don't become is the con man. The con man to me is the worst kind of person. Always looking for the right angle, always looking how they can grift, manipulate, take from others. I know that because I'm in this dungeon right now and there's a con man in here.
Yes, there is. And his inmate number is 01669561.
And it's the strangest to watch somebody work their cons.
Is Chille having an out-of-body experience here?
And so you, as you listen to me talk here now, have to decide what kind of character you are. Before I was locked in this dungeon, I was going live every day for 2 or 3 hours a day. And I went by a very simple philosophy. I need money. I'm so sorry. I hate to say that. My business, my trifold and card business is really predicated on me going live for 2 or 3 hours a day and breaking down people getting pulled over and showing how it failed. That's what my business is predicated on. And my business went from a successful business to a business that a minimum wage worker might make every day.
Yeah. Welcome to the real world, asshole. Alright, so this is the point where the video becomes unwatchable.
Within a month, he wouldn't have, because he would have enough to rent, enough to put on a decent pair of, enough to get a job at a fast truck, and then work his way up.
Great quality control from Team DLZ. Here's a free tip. Upload your video as a private video first, then watch it and check it for any errors. There's like over 10 more minutes of this garbled mess. Didn't stop him from monetizing it though. Now prepare yourself for the second call, cause it gets a little intense. And again, I added some appropriate ambiance.
Third party call, and that's why they threw me in the hole. I'm in the hole now. I'm locked down in a room 5 feet by 10 feet with another guy who's strung out on drugs big time. They just had some guy in here. Horrible. I want to be very careful what I say. I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to give away any sort of security or anything like that. So I'm just going to say that I'm in the hole. And I'll be in the hole for 3 to 5 days until I get what's called a CAD hearing or a CAT hearing. I'm not sure what it is. I have court Monday. I need people to show up for court on Monday. That's what I really need. I mean, I gotta get out of this life. This is an absolute crazy house. You have no idea. I can't say anything about my surroundings. I can't say anything that would give away any sort of security thing here. You know, I don't want them to say that I've created any kind of security thing, but I can just tell you what's happened today has been unbelievable. I've been in a lockdown cell for 24 hours, and the guy next to me was screaming the entire night, pounding on the door, screaming the whole night long. I'm in this tiny room walking back and forth like a caged animal. I've done more push-ups, sit-ups, dips. I can't do any more stretching, and I'm just completely, utterly just torn, bent, twisted. It's insane that they would lock up a journalist and put me in this kind of dungeon. It's horrible. You have no idea.
Dramatic, huh? Okay, first off, Chille, if you want to call yourself a journalist, fine. We can debate that another time. But, shocking as it may be, journalists can be put in jail if they break the law! Now, we missed the very first thing he said, but it picks up with third-party call, that's why they threw me in the hole. Okay, so if you're in the hole for making a third-party call, how are you making a phone call?
So, as soon as I was on the phone, they said, I don't know what anybody heard because I was broadcasting and I was reporting, but I was not calling a third party. And they said Rule 249 of the Clark County Detention Center. But I never got a rule book. I was never handed a rule book. I was never instructed to read a rule book.
What are the rules?
I walked up to every guard when they came in. I introduced myself, told them I was nonviolent. I would not be any problem for them.
I bet they love that. Great job, buddy. When all else fails, Chille runs and cries to an authority figure. Wouldn't that make him a cop-sucker? Maybe you should have asked him what the rules were, Chille. You knew these charges could bring jail time.
Assuming you're entering a not guilty plea.
Does the misdemeanor carry jail time?
Possibly, yes.
Possible jail time.
And you admit you didn't help yourself any with your courtroom behavior.
Well, I made all the mistakes in the world. I constantly teach people that when you go in front of the judge, you have to be humble, you have to be respectful to all the court employees. I broke all my own rules. I broke every rule I knew, and I screwed it up, you know.
You quickly reversed that with everything else you said, of course. But you did have a lucid moment there. And we've been listening to you bitch and moan on the phone since you got there. Where's this alpha male guy you keep telling us about? He wouldn't be crying on the phone like a teenage girl.
Beta!
You can't even listen to another man take a dump without freaking out.
I've sat on my bunk the entire time. I have not done anything else. I have not communicated with any other inmates. All I've done is read and talk on the phone. Again, I was never given a handbook. Never.
What are the rules? Who could say the N-word?
Never, ever was I given a handbook. It was never handed to me. It was never suggested I read a handbook. I was never instructed to figure out how to read the rules of this facility. I was never told that live streaming was against the rules. I was never told that reporting was against the rules. I wouldn't have done it. I simply wouldn't have done it.
So he complains over and over that he never got a rule book. But he also never thought to ask for one? I mean, you introduced yourself to the guards, but didn't ask them if there's a rule book. I'm quite sure they are required to give you one upon request. And who is he trying to kid? Even if he knew it was against the rules, he absolutely would have tried it. By the way, if you all want to download it and read it, it's on the Clark County Detention Center's website. It is a fascinating peek into the reality Chille is living.
I've been in an absolute and total hell. An absolute total hell. You have no idea. If you want to talk about time, this is hard time. This is hard in a room with one other person and the other guy's completely whacked on drugs. Completely whacked.
So a failed actor stuck alone in a room with a crazy drug addict. You just described every other apartment in LA. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, slept, woke up, slept. Just so sad to see. It's so sad to see. It just makes me want to cry when I see the level of addiction that is here. Jails and prisons should be broken up into 3 sections: non-violent, violent, and drug addicted.
I'm sure you'll have the place reformed in a week, Chille. Champion of the people such as you are.
When they came and they arrested me, the moment my phone cut off yesterday, they arrested me immediately. They came in with 5 guards and they put me in torture cuffs.
Well, I think we just found out a new rule.
Leave it to Chille to get arrested in jail. Excuse me, Mr. Law Scholar activist, sir. They didn't arrest you. They secured you for transfer to another part of the jail. Idiot.
I had a panic attack because they were taking me down to solitaire, to the tiny little room. On the way down, I had a panic attack. It was so horrifically bad. I felt like my chest was going to pop out. I thought I was going to literally die right there. I thought I was having a heart attack. So they brought all these people around me, and they gave me an EKG, and it was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, that tracks. Sounds to me like reality setting in, and Chille realizing he can't bullshit his way out of it like usual. A panic attack would be his natural reaction.
The guards just do what they're told, period. If they're told to do this, that's what they do.
You don't say. Employees doing what they're told. How very odd. Maybe you should tell them you need a copy of the rule book.
They don't have empathy. They don't have sympathy. They are told to do something, and that's all they care about. That's all they will do. They will not do anything else.
I'm struggling to wrap my head around this. A guard at a secure facility, observing mandated procedures and following instructions from their superiors. I'm lost, man. I just don't get it.
So it's just, and then here in this tiny little, this is punishment, so you don't get a book. They won't give you a book.
Not even a rule book? Tyrants.
And then NRS code in Nevada says you only get 1 hour of free time. That the guards only have to give you 1 hour of free time. Well, every single legislator in Nevada, I would love to see you sit in that room even for 3 hours by yourself, or even with somebody else.
Yeah, or if they really wanted to make them suffer, they'd put them in there with you, Chille.
With people screaming in the rooms next door, singing. It's like something out of a movie. You've never seen anything like it. NRS code says you get 1 hour of free time a day. You know, you get to come out of that tiny little room for 1 hour. If the guards decide to give you your free time, it's completely backwards. Last night I thought people get free time at 2 o'clock in the morning. Who are you going to call at 2 o'clock in the morning? You can't call your mother. She's dead asleep. You can't call your attorney. He's not in his office.
Too bad them late night party lines ain't around anymore, huh?
NRS code, I don't know what the code is, but yesterday when the sergeant came in, he said, listen guys, NRS says I only give you guys 1 hour of free time a day. Other than that, you'll be locked down. Well, in my particular case, they took me to this room and locked me down. I'm locked down in a room.
As opposed to a garage? A walk-in humidor?
There's a tiny slit of a window 4 inches wide by 3 feet long.
I don't know what it is with this guy, but he is really focused on measurements. And I'll leave it at that.
And that's it. Total. Other than that, it's gray walls with a 1 seat and a desk, but you don't get any paper, you don't get any pencils, and you don't get a book. You just sit in this tiny little room.
Tiny man in a tiny room with a 1-inch slit. Got it. Let's move on, Chille.
I've called my attorney. We're gonna try to get me out of this horrible situation because I didn't break the rules and I was never given a set of rules to follow.
And just to be clear, you never asked anyone about them.
I was never instructed. You can read the rules here. There's no rules written on the wall. The only thing written all over the walls is suicide prevention. That's it. Are you feeling suicidal? Here, call this. Are you feeling like you've been sexually assaulted? Call this. But there's no rules anywhere. There's no rules that you're supposed to follow. There's no CCDC handbook. It doesn't exist. There is none.
Well, there you go. There is no rule book. Chille said so. How could he break the rules if no one told him what they were? And there is no rule book. By the way, Rule 249, third-party calls, may I refer you to your non-existent inmate handbook? Since you don't seem to understand the concept, let me explain. By broadcasting the calls live, you are making your internet audience the third party. You are party 1, the person you're calling is party 2, and your audience is party 3. 1, 2, 3. Third party call. I know you can count that high, Chille.
And I can't say anything about what I saw today. I can't. If I say anything about what I saw, then they'll say that I created a security risk, and I just can't tell you. But I can write it down, and I will write it down. When I get out of here, I will publish a book of everything that I've seen, everything that I've been through.
One day soon, Chille will be allowed to have pencils again.
This has been an absolute horrendous experience. It's literally like you're in hell on earth, and that there are people here that make you do what you're supposed to do. Anyway, listen, gotta go. Okay, I gotta jump off this phone. I love you guys. Pray for me. Pray for me. I love you. Bye.
The caller has hung up.
Fucking finally. You heard him, folks. Hell on earth. Pray for him. What a weenie. Chille made it clear in his first phone call that he at least understood Rule 1 of jail.
You know, the first rule in here is to mind your own business. That's the first rule. Mind your own business. Literally, everybody will tell you what the first rule is.
And that's gonna be the hardest part of his, quote, hard time. Minding his own fucking business. I mean, let's face it, if he knew how to do that, he wouldn't be in jail right now. Well, I'm sure this saga will be continued. In the meantime, Chille, if you're looking for something to do in your cell, to take your mind off your troubles, well, nothing beats dancing.
I'm coming after you.
Embrace your inner Corey, man.
You've never met anybody like me. I'm never stopping. I'm coming after you. You're being hunted.
Just let it out.
I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna get you. I'm not ever stopping. And it's creepy. It's creepy. Are you scared? I'm not ever stopping.
Nobody puts Chille in a corner. Nobody.
I'll never stop going down.